What I want to talk about is kind of Bryte Youth vision. You know, who are we? What are we all about? What are we even doing here? Who are we, this crazy bunch of people that gather here at 9 p.m. on a Sunday night? I mean, this just blows people away, like, especially American preachers. I mean, they come and like, wow, there's a room full of people here at 9 a.m. I mean, I'm sleeping, 9 p.m. I'm sleeping 30 minutes ago, right, usually. So who are we, what are we? And I want to start by saying that first and foremost, the number one purpose for who we are as people and who we are as an organization and as Christians is we exist for the glory of God. Amen? Because He is the creator of the heavens and the earth. He has created us, and He has given up His Son for us. And if there's only one thing we can do with our life, if we can glorify Him, we have satisfied the biggest goal that can ever exist. And therefore, Bryte Youth is the number one thing for Bryte Youth is to glorify God in whatever we do. And I know that sounds really vague because the reality is there's a billion different ways to glorify God and bring honor to Him. Basically, it's anything that's positive, anything that's good, anything that we do, keeping in mind who God is, right? When we live by His word, when we help people, when we love people, when we spread His love, that glorifies Him. Anything that we do for His sake, from our heart, is for the glory of God. So I want to start first by just with our mission statement. Our mission statement was and still is, it's to show love, it's to save lives, it's to study the Lord. That's what we do, right? And we're still doing this. We're still showing love. We're still saving lives. We're still studying the Lord. And honestly, I'm personally encouraged because I recently heard a testimony of a person who, been going to community group for years, but only recently has this person just met God, and his joy is just overflowing. And this is in our youth, and it's just so encouraging to see the gospel transform people, and that's what keeps me going. And as we serve, remember that is our end purpose. Is we're saving lives in everything that we do. So that's what we do. Next is the vision statement, and what will we look like? Now, before I present the vision statement and the three parts of the vision statement, I'm a big fan of doing whatever works at a given moment, right? So if I start, you guys know those little gas pills that you can throw into your tank and it like increases your gas mileage, right? Well, if you haven't heard that, there's like that stuff. I don't really know if it works, but imagine that it actually worked, and I put it into my car, and someone told me, like, this works. I'm like, okay, great. I put it in, and I drive like 1,000 miles on my tank, I'm like more efficient than a Tesla, right? So I start driving, and all of a sudden, my car starts breaking, 3 weeks after. Well, I'm not going to keep using those gas supplements or whatever they are, because my car is breaking down. I'm going to abandon it because it doesn't make sense. And it's the same thing with what we do as an organization. For example, our vision statement. As long as it makes sense for us, we're going to keep doing it. As long as it's glorifying God and it's down the right direction, the right path, we're going to keep doing that. So that's my little disclaimer before presenting our vision statement for our youth. And what happened is I was just praying. I'm like, God, at the end of 2017, I just picked a date that wasn't too far away and it wasn't too close. Is what do we want people to walk away from Bryte Youth, and what should Bryte Youth look like at the end of 2017? And as I discussed this with our leadership team, as we prayed about this, as we brainstormed, here's what we came up with. First of all, God is in this place. And I found this phrase in Genesis chapter 28 when Jacob is fleeing from his brother who's trying to kill him. And he goes to sleep, I believe it was in Bethel, and he sees angels ascending and descending in a vision right from heaven to earth. And after he wakes up and he says, wow, I did not realize this, but God is in this place. And just the fact how Jacob was kind of shocked. He was surprised in a good way that he found God in this place. And what I want, man, by the end of 2017, how amazing would it be if people could imagine somebody who came to Bryte Youth for the very first time. They came to the service, they left, they're driving home with their friend, and the one impression that's left upon them is, wow, truly God is in this place. The way people talk to one another, the way they treat each other, the way they are on stage, the preaching and the word that was being presented, truly God is in this place. Wouldn't that be amazing? Amen? That's our goal. That's our vision. That's who we want to be. And this is going to take every single one of us, because it's not just me, Ed, Nikita, and Pete, and Artem, and Eli just sitting here and just trying to do everything and turn this into a place where people walk away saying God is in this place. This is every single one of us. And I invite you and I encourage you to not just participate, but be this. The second part of our vision is to be a praying family. We want to cultivate a culture of prayer. We want to live and breathe prayer all the time. Before service, during service, we can get up at any time and pray just like we did during the open mic night. I think that's amazing. After service, you can meet one another. You can pray with anyone. We want to be that praying family, because 1 Thessalonians talks about pray unceasingly. Never stop. There's never a set time for prayer. Prayer is not just Monday morning prayer. That is prayer, but that's not the only prayer. And we want to live and breathe prayer. That's what I see. I see us being a praying family as we gather here on Sundays. The next one, and this one is basically, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it says setting new standards. In Matthew chapter 5, Jesus talks a lot about, if somebody slaps you on the cheek, turn the other cheek. They say an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. He says, but I say to you. And he increases the standard. He sets a new standard for Christians. And I think that we should also do this in our lives and in our ministries and in our youth. That we should always push ourselves and not settle for, just fair. What's good enough? Oh, you knock my tooth out and I'll knock your tooth out, right? I want us to push ourselves. I want us to improve. So if you are in a ministry, if you're serving somewhere or you're thinking of getting into a ministry, I don't want you to settle and think, oh, this is good enough. Not that God will be happier because you did more for him and he's going to pat you on the head now. But it's, where can you challenge yourself for the glory of God? Because God sees that. God sees the hearts of his children as this, I always imagine us as like little kids in preschool and kindergarten, and you cut out with the little scissors, it's like really messed up and crooked, and you color it, and you think it's the most beautiful piece of art, and you bring it to your parents, and you're just like, look, I drew you, and you obviously the kid has to explain it because you can't really understand what's being drawn in there, and the parent puts it on the fridge, right? That's us before God. Like, the only thing that matters for God in that moment, the only thing that matters for the parent is the fact that that child was doing it with their whole heart. They were thinking about their parent as they're drawing this thing. And it's the same thing with us. Because the kid could just go online, like a smart kid could go online, print a really good photo, or something, and just say, hey, look, I got you this picture. It's much better than anything I could ever draw. Just hang it up on the fridge. That's not going to go up on the fridge. The parent doesn't care about that. What God cares about is our heart. Where's our heart as we serve in ministry? I want us to always continue to set new standards for ourselves and to compete with our own self and our own selfishness, our own laziness, our own pride. And certain areas I'm going to name, but this is not all the areas. One is preaching. Pete and I are going to be working on this and raising up the preachers of our youth, raising ourselves up and training so that we can deliver a better message, a more satisfying, soul-feeding word from the God. The services the way we do our services, the way we do our events. I want us to step up our game. I want us to step it up in terms of fellowship. And I know we're really far from this, and we're going to need a lot of work so that this would be a reality by the end of 2017. But I want us to press on to this goal. Innovation and creativity. Now you might think, why is this part of the vision? Because I believe that God gave us minds, and He gave us creativity. And I believe that we as Christians should be the most creative people, because we are children of the Creator who made the colors, who made all the amazing things in this world. I want us to, if you're in a ministry, think about that. How can you innovate? How can you be more creative? And if you're not in a ministry, how can you get into one and be creative? How can you apply yourself and set a new standard? And then lastly, outreach. I put this one here because I'm scared of it. Personally, for me, it's uncomfortable to go and just preach the gospel, to share the gospel with people. I'm scared of that. I'm scared of people's opinions of me. I don't want to look like a crazy loony person who believes in this imaginary force, and yet we are called to spread the saving message of God, and we see it actually saving people. Most of the time, they don't get saved the moment they hear it. But we know that the planted word has such amazing power, and God will use it after it has been planted. So I want the next semester I want us to set a new standard in outreach. I want you guys to invite people from your schools, from your work, from the people around you, your family members, whoever it might be. You know who that person is. I want you to invite them, and I want them to come and to hear the gospel. I want you to share the gospel with them, and not just think that, I'll just leave the dirty work for the preachers who are here. Who are some people that you can reach out to? Who are some people that you can share the gospel with? We build these relationships with people. We form these friendships with people who don't know Jesus, and we can't even do them the favor of sharing the gospel with them. You don't need to get all crazy on them. But when you have that friendship, you can bring up the gospel, and you could show them that there is a different way to live. I know it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for me. I'm sure it's uncomfortable for 95% of us. But that's what we're called to do. Amen? So I want us to set new standards for our own selves, to compete with our own selves. That's our vision. We have events coming up, fall 2016. We're just going to talk about some stuff that's happening. Ed, if you could share some of the things that are coming up.
Yes. My mic is on. Awesome. So for events, the second half of 2016, we do have a lot of things that we already announced, which is like Scala. Then we have 4th of July, obviously, tomorrow. Then we have New Year's, which is going to be also happening with our youth, and we're going to be hosting it here, either here or somewhere else, but we're going to be thinking of a new way to do it, a more exciting way to do it. And here's a big one that I want to talk about is Serve Day. I really got inspired by this one when Chris Stamba came to our English service, and he showed the video.
So who's Chris Stamba?
Okay, so Chris Stamba is the founder of Grace City Center, which is here in Sacramento, and he just helps homeless kids, get back on their feet and everything. And they have a whole like an organization, a building where they're located here in Sacramento. And in that video, when he visited us, when he was talking about it, in that video, I really liked the idea what they did. They took a big dumpster and they just placed
like a big metal.
Yeah, like a big dumpster, like a big metal box. Okay, if you don't know what that is, and they placed it on their parking lot. And what they did is they got a huge group of people, a lot of teens, a lot of adults, moms, dads. I mean, everybody came out. And what they did is they grabbed trucks, pickup trucks, and they went around the neighborhood. And they collected people's trash, backyard trash, whatever
old
it is.
Mattresses,
yeah, mattresses,
bed
pallets, and unused
bulldozers,
broken bikes, and just a whole bunch of garbage and stuff that's just laying in your backyard. I'm pretty sure a lot of us.
Or in your front yard.
Or in your front yard. Hopefully not.
Depends how much you have in the backyard.
Yeah. And that really inspired me. I'm like, why don't we do that? If they did that, they're only 5 miles, 10 miles away from us, then we can totally do that. We have a bunch of people. We have a lot of young people. And what the goal, the vision is to do this in August. So do look for more announcements, more information on that, and it's going to be serving the Brighton Project area. So instead of waiting for people to come to us, we're going to be intentional, be missional, and go out to them. Obviously we're going to pass out flyers and give them a heads up ahead of time and let them know what we're going to be doing, what our plans are. But it's just going to be a whole day of serving. It's not going to be just fun. It's not going to be music. There won't be jump houses. It's just going to be gloves. You're going to be hot. You're going to be sweaty. You're going to be dirty for the glory of God. Amen.
Amen.
And so yeah, those are the three big things that we have for events. And we are going to have more stuff like smaller trips. We just had a committee meeting, and this was one of the ideas, not to have like more organized big events like Bryte Night Live, where we're just planning for like half a year, but more like random trips, maybe hikes, rafting, camping trips. Maybe not the whole youth will make it, but whoever can will make it to this trip. And if you can't make it to the first one, then you can make it to the second one. You can't make it to the second one, you'll make it to the third one. Eventually, we want to create an atmosphere where everybody gets to know each other through these trips and spending time together, not just once or twice a year at big events that we do. So that's the goal for events, and hopefully that's going to change things in Bryte Youth and move us forward so that we do feel like a family and we can live up to our vision.
Thank you, Ed. You guys give him a big round of applause. It's nerve-wracking to be up here, especially with me and a microphone. So I do want to say, guys, for Skala, please come out to Skala. Stay posted for announcements. We, as Bryte Youth, we are officially going to Skala. This is like, you can consider this as a retreat by Bryte Youth. So we are officially endorsing it. We're providing for it. It's not just like, okay, go there and they'll babysit you. No, we are officially participating. We're taking a very active role in organizing Skala, and we're really excited. I think I already got my days off. I'm not sure. I'll have to check when I get back in the office. So please join us, sign up, and it's going to be an awesome blast. And what Alex said is, it's just so encouraging to see other passionate Christians all over California, all over the West Coast, and to see just the fact that God is working here, and in here. So it's going to be amazing. So please come join us for Skala. Next up, we have. So as we were gathering kind of with our leaders, with our committees, we were thinking about a series that's going to be relevant for us for our next semester, and I'm really stoked for what's coming up. We're going to be starting a series called Counterculture Series. So, man, if you really think about what's going on in our world right now, I think I might be totally like saying the wrong statistic, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Christianity is no longer a majority in America. People who identify themselves as Christian, the amount of people that identify themselves as Christians today is getting smaller and smaller every single year. And I know that there's this tension in the air, in our culture, in our atmosphere, in the atmosphere of this nation, right? We are becoming a minority for what we believe in, right? And just a great example is the whole transgender LGBT thing, right? We as Christians believe that God said that's not right, that's sin, and we should love these people like crazy and share the gospel with them and be friends with them and show them the love of Christ. But we can't approve of that sin, just like we can't approve of, drunkenness or people getting beat up and hurt or stealing or name calling, whatever it might be. We can't approve of that sin. And before, this used to be an opinion of the majority. Do you know that actually, I forget what year it was. I think it was 2008, if I'm not mistaken. But California, I think it was like 50 or 51% of Californians voted yes on Prop 8, which was against legalizing gay marriage. So even 8 years ago, the majority of Californians said, no, we should not legalize gay marriage. That has completely changed in the last decade. We have now become the minority, and you know what? If you think you get preached at only at church on Sundays, you are dead wrong. We are getting preached at all the time, every single day. Who here has Snapchat? Okay, do you guys notice what they added when you go look through the stories? It's like all these like news, so-called news. Man, it's crazy. Just most of that's like if half of that stuff isn't sinful, it's like as close as you can get to sinful. A lot of weird stuff, and this is what everybody's being exposed to. We are being preached to through that. And it's crazy because it's not just through Snapchat, it's everywhere. You drive, it's on the billboards, it's on buildings, it's names of companies. It's on the news, it's in your classroom, it's from your teachers, it's from your peers. It's crazy, but a message is always being preached to us. And often it's not God's message. It's not from God's perspective. So we really feel the conviction that we need to talk. There's a lot of things that we need to talk about in this counterculture series because it's becoming more and more relevant for us. And what do we believe? Why is it wrong? Why is, for example, homosexuality is a sin? If the people truly love each other and they truly care about each other and they're, okay, so what? They can't make babies, but if they truly love each other, why is that wrong? Isn't God love? Right? We need answers to these kind of questions. So I'm really stoked for this message, for these messages that we're going to be talking about. And one actually, I'll give you a few examples. I'll just throw some bones out there. For example, soulmates. We're going to have a whole topic, a whole Sunday talking about that. And who is your soulmate? And how can you find your soulmate, right? And how do you know you found the one? And does the Bible even talk about soulmates? And does the Bible support the theme of soulmates? And as that great song asks, what is love, right? What is love? Legitimately, what is love? Is it a feeling? I mean, we always hear, yeah, it's not a feeling, it's not a feeling. But what is love at the essence, at its core? So we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to be preaching on that one because I've been having many discussions with people, and people are like, what? They're blown away. I'm like, okay, we need to preach about this. We need to talk about this. And they're like, yes, please come and talk about it. Actually, they forced me to talk about it instead of, like, you have to preach on this. All right. They're not paying me. So another topic that we're going to be talking about, social media, the new drug. Who's addicted? Who's honest? Guys, in reality, we are hooked on this thing called social media. And it creates a little reward sensor. And this is not just church talk. I mean, there's been studies done on this by psychologists. And it's a big part of our life. And do we just go out and just turn all social media off? Or do we just turn all of it on and post everywhere on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, MySpace, High Five, if you guys remember? Is that what we go and do? Where do we stand? What does the Bible have to say about this? And then last little bone for this one, and it's lagging really slow, but gender roles and biblical manhood and biblical womanhood. And what does this all mean? And the whole bathroom debate. And why is that such a big deal? So a lot of really relevant topics that are coming up, and they matter. So we're going to be looking at them, and I'm really, really stoked for that. Next up, for summer. So who here has summer vacation? A lot of us, right? And then who here doesn't have summer vacation? I feel your pain because I don't have one either. Life has forever changed. So for those of you that have summer vacation, just two encouragements for you guys, and I think the band can start slowly making their way up. One is stay connected. Add us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Snapchat. We love to post updates on Snapchat. If you're not following us yet, just go into your Snapchat. It's Bryte Youth, one word. Follow us there. We post stuff on our story. We love to push updates through that because we're going to be announcing a lot of different things. I know that we are not going to have our services But that doesn't mean Bryte Youth has stopped. There's going to be a lot of work done in the background. There's community groups are going to be going on. There's going to be a lot of planning, a lot of things that we're going to be doing together. And your main way of staying connected is probably going to be through social media, or just text me on my cell phone just to ask me something. Ping me on Facebook, no problem at all. And the other thing, actually, before I talk into that, we have a really exciting thing coming up. It's called the People of Bryte Youth. We're launching that July 12th. And it's an effort to just introduce us to one another. Who are we, right? Because we see people all the time, but we might not know anything about them and who they are, where they came from, and what is their life all about. So we're launching this. I don't know how often we're going to be posting on that. I think it's once a week, if I'm not mistaken, but it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a short little bio. So that's launching. I think that's going to be on our Facebook and our Instagram. So watch out for that, July 12th. And then lastly, I know how summer breaks are. Like, your list of things you want to do starts like this much going into summer. The moment they let me go from this chain, right? School, I'm going to do all these things. And then once you get in, it's just like Netflix, right? So my encouragement to you guys, make this the most blessed summer ever. And how do you do that? Jesus says it is more blessed to give than to receive. Guys, this is a fact. This is a reality. Make this the summer where you serve other people, not yourself, where you serve other people more than you have ever served before. And one really easy way is just go to your parents and ask them, surprise them, shock them, and say, what can I do for you around the house? And they're going to say, what's the catch, right? And they're not going to believe you for the first week or so, right? But you guys, there is such blessing in giving instead of receiving. Giving without any expectation to receive at all. Like, nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to give you some money after. Nobody's going to compensate you. They might not even thank you. But that makes it even better. Because you're not doing it for them, you're doing it for God. Make this the summer where you serve more than you have ever served before, guys. I challenge you this, and I promise you, this is my guarantee to you, that if you do that, and if this summer is not going to be your best summer ever, come to me, talk to me, like, I'll compensate you or something. So we'll talk about that in fall. But in all honesty, challenge yourself and give this summer away. Don't hoard it. And you know what? It's so much more satisfying. It is so much better than just Netflix. So serve. It doesn't even have to be in ministry. It can. If you guys feel called, there's some project, go ahead and do it. But find an elderly person, your parents, your siblings, whoever, something at church, someone on the street, some neighbor, whatever it might be, guys. Make this the most selfless summer ever. Amen?